What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Monday, September 11th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside making his return to the show, the pure one, at Tim Gettys.
Let's him host. Oh man, Greg, it feels good to be back here. Talking about video games. I've been wanting to do this for at least a week, a true man's week as they call it. I've been on NeoGAF every day, and it just feels lonely. Reading all these things, not having anyone to talk about video games with.
Now, you were over in that Hawaii.
I was.
Were you playing games?
I was playing a lot of games.
Yeah? What else did you play?
Can't talk too much about what I was playing.
Really?
I can say that I was playing Metroid Samus Returns.
Hell yeah, you can.
I can say that I like it very much.
Okay.
That is all I can say.
Okay. We'll talk more some on the Games Cast about that.
Yeah, I don't know about all the dates and stuff. I think
it works out.
Okay.
I think it works out. If not, fuck them. What's Nintendo going to do?
What are they going to do?
They've never come after anybody. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, I'm happy to have you back. There's a lot to catch up on. A lot of things happening. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about before jumping into your questions, giving you some perspective. Whoa. That one came out of nowhere, giving you some perspective, reading bad PSN names, having a great time. If you like all of that, you can watch us record the show live at twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. However, we don't interact with the chat because we're making a podcast. Instead, you'd have to go to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so that at the end of the show, we can correct it all, set the record straight, and everybody on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and podcast services around the globe get one polished package. Wherever you're listening to the show or watching the show, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share, get it out there. It's a lot of kids. I was talking about this because I haven't seen you since PAX, right? No, you were gone we left that same weekend.
Yeah.
So many people at PAX came up to me and told me how, first off, we're killing it since the soft relaunch of Kinda Funny, but the fact that they fucking love Kinda Funny Games Daily.
So
that means a lot to us. We're really, really proud of the show and happy to do it for you.
How did the cancer panel go? Quickly.
Real well.
Good.
I got the footage late Friday. I need to edit it all together to get it up, but I got a million other things to do too. Housekeeping for you. Cooking with Greggy is live right now on patreon.com/kindafunny if you want to go over there and subscribe for $1. If you don't, episode 1 will be live on YouTube next week. Don't sweat it. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. Almost got you there, Big Kev Dog. Getting you back. Okay, you can stop now. I understand you've been 5 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
Number 1.
A doozy.
You might have heard of this one. I'm going to read the BBC article about PewDiePie dropping the N-word during a live stream. I inhaled a Cliff Bar right before I came on, and them oats are at the back of my throat kicking. The world's highest paid YouTube star, PewDiePie, has used the N-word during an online broadcast. The 27-year-old Swede, real name Felix, and how do you say it?
Kjellberg?
I want to keep just calling him PewDiePie from here on. Could be heard using the racial slur while he was playing a video game during a live streaming, is what it says. He's playing PUBG for the record. After using the term, he appeared to recognize his error, saying, "I don't mean that in a bad way." PewDiePie, who has more than 57 million subscribers, previously had to defend himself over anti-Semitism allegations. On another occasion, he was suspended from Twitter for his so-called Islamic State jokes. Sean Vanneman, whose Campo Santo studio develops the game Firewatch, tweeted that he intends to file a DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, reports in an attempt to remove all videos and streams of PewDiePie playing his company's title. I'm now inserting all of Sean's tweets because the BBC didn't. Not all of them, but ones that are here because he tweeted a lot about this. There is a bit of leeway you have to have with the internet when you wake up every day and make video games. There's also a breaking point. I'm sick of this child getting more and more chances to make money off what we make. He's worse than a closeted racist. He's a propagator of despicable garbage that does real damage to the culture around this industry. I'd urge other developers and will be reaching out to folks much larger than us to cut him off from the content that has made him a millionaire. Furthermore, we're complicit. I'm sure that we've made money off the 5.7 million views that video has, and that's something for us to think about. Again, he's talking about PewDiePie's Let's Plays of Firewatch, which, after Sean tweeted about this, they came down. They're not up to be seen anymore. Back to the BBC. In February, some of his videos were found to contain Nazi references or anti-Semitic imagery, which resulted in Disney cutting ties with him. In February, Disney said that while PewDiePie has had a reputation for being provocative and irreverent, some of his videos were inappropriate. In one of the controversial videos, PewDiePie paid 2 people through a crowdsourcing website to hold up a sign which read, "Death to all Jews." PewDiePie has accepted the material was offensive and said he doesn't support, quote, any kind of hateful attitudes. He said that the anti-Semitism claims were insane and unfair, adding, "I am sorry for the words I used, as I know they would offend people." This row led to YouTube canceling the release of PewDiePie's new series, Scare PewDiePie 2. And so far, at least when we were getting ready for Kind of Funny Games, with the morning show and then into this, still no official comment from PewDiePie on any of the social media platforms. I'm not sure if that's happened. If it does pop during this, I'd ask you to go put it into kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Before we even weigh in, I want to kick it over to Andre. Andre wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, "Hey Greg, I wanted to ask you what you think about the latest PewDiePie controversy. I'm a black gamer that listens to many YouTubers like Kinda Funny. Many YouTubers so far have already chimed in and gave their opinions. They don't think that what he said was a big deal. Some people who I actually listen to are telling people like me to quote unquote get over it. All of them white, by the way, which to me is weird when they aren't even affected by it. I personally think PewDiePie is a white supremacist based on his actions. Some might say that's a bit too far, but to me, you don't have to wear a hood and burn crosses to be one. Just look at their actions. It's become too common lately, and I am disappointed that people who I watch feel like this is not a big deal. Just wondering where you are on all of this. That's all. Hope you have a wonderful show. Best wishes." To be as clear as possible, Andre, this is a huge deal. This should not be overlooked. No one should tell you you shouldn't be allowed to feel this way. You're allowed to feel whatever you want to feel. And I'm with you that I can't believe this has happened. I was in the car yesterday. Jen's sister's in town. We've been running around doing touristy stuff. And I scrolled and I saw Klepek mention something about PewDiePie. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I didn't read the tweet and I was scrolling. And then I got to Vandeman's tweets. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And went back to Patrick Klepek from Waypoint, watched the video, the commentary there. And I was just like, what the fuck? I can't put into words how disgusting this is to have this happen. And the whole, Andre, you feel he's a white supremacist, stuff like that. That's your opinion and I want you to have it. I'm not defending PewDiePie at all. What I'm telling you is I don't know PewDiePie well enough to make a thing like that, a decision like that. I think that obviously you read this BBC article, because even when this originally happened, right? And it was like, oh, death to all Jews and all this stuff. There is that line of like, all right, like, again, I'm not watching the content. I'm watching super clips of it and cuts of it, or like, okay, maybe this is one way to insert, blah, blah. To get here, I can't, not knowing this man, not knowing this person outside of the occasional tweet maybe we've shared, it's hard to look at all this and not side with Andre. Yeah. Not be like, there's something horrible under the surface here.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to this situation, what he did yesterday.
Yeah.
He immediately recognized he fucked up and did something wrong by saying, oh, I didn't mean it in the bad way. So that shows he knows he shouldn't have done that, right? He knows that he is going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
That is a good sign. However, you can't say that. You have a responsibility when you are a public persona to your viewers, to the audience, to your non-viewers and people that are not in your audience that are going to see this stuff and have their opinions and whatever. Free speech, all that, sure, whatever. I would never be in a situation where those words would come out of my mouth when I'm playing a video game and I'm saying fuck you to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that's not the type of shit talk that is in my vernacular, in my brain to even come from. So for him to use that, the slip of the mind, like, sure, there are horrible things that I would say that I don't necessarily mean.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that just would never be there, right? Yeah. And that I feel like that is the line that he crossed, where it's like, going back to what Andre's saying, it's like, no, this is bad. We do need to talk about this, and he needs to be held responsible for his actions and used as an example.
I'm with you.
Because for him being at the top, you need to use the top as an example so that going all the way down, everyone else realizes this is wrong. There is a clear line. This isn't a personal politics thing. I keep seeing that get thrown around a lot, even from people we respect. You see the whole Boogie's tweets. I
saw Boogie tweeting about it, and then I saw Lucy O'Brien from IGN be like, personal politics, come on, dude.
And the thing there is like, what Boogie's argument makes a lot of sense, where it's like, all right, well, how are we going to chastise this? Like, where's the line? Like, of what can and can't people say? And like, that's really murky, and that is true. That is very true. However, this is a situation where it's like, you can't say this.
No.
This isn't a politics thing of like, I'm okay saying that. No. This is utter hate speech for the sake of it being hate speech. What Andre's talking about, the white supremacy thing, that gets really complicated. Those are all labels, and you can take all that away. At the end of the day, when you are using that word as an insult to somebody else, you are putting down a group of people, and implying white supremacy. Period. Like, there's no way around that.
And that's my thing, to be clear. Like, I'm just saying, yeah, you're talking about definitions and labels and all these different things. I think it was Austin Walker, because there's been so many people way smarter than us dissecting this and having, obviously, again, if you're a listener, don't realize, having way more perspective than two white men I'm 34, you're 28 now.
28.
I mean, like, you know what 27. I mean? We're right there in this thing where, like, yep, life's pretty great for us. We don't have to worry about much. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it was Austin talking about the fact of, like, disconnect however you want to the white supremacy, whatever you want to say. Blah, 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 is he racist? He's not racist. The fact that this word is being used here means that when he's off camera, he's using this word here, if that makes sense. And I think, and again, I don't know PewDiePie. I can't say that's the case. And that's the line I'm walking. I'm trying not to defend him, but I'm also not trying to run to the, hey, I think that he's clearly evil kind of thing. I don't know. But it is the fact of, I think we talk about it all the time on these shows, right? How much we've struggled with it, and not struggled, but in the past of, like, when I went to college calling things gay, and not meaning, man, that's homosexual, meaning, man, that's stupid. And then having the first person who was ever gay that I knew and was a friend be like, what do you mean? Why are you saying that? Think about what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing. I mean, we've had discussions on the Game Over Greggy show about how we used to throw around retarded, right? Like, you used to say, that's retarded. That's a dumb decision. That's bad. Not that it's handicap or something like that in any situation. It's that those words are coming up and being used because we were using them off camera. And I know that's been a thing with other YouTube personalities and people as they've grown and learned, because that's what this all comes back to, right? The fact that this would come, it's to your point. Like, I can't imagine a situation where I would slip up, quote unquote, or be in the heat of a moment in a video game and use the N-word. What would possibly happen? That just doesn't make any sense for me. And the thing about it too, and now again, I've seen the clip that Klepek put out and then the clip that's been shared of it, right? Where, it's, I don't mean that in the bad way. Originally what he says is like, that guy said, or he's a fucking N-word, and he's like, I'm sorry, I mean fucking asshole. And so it's like, ooh. Like, and I think this is another Austin Walker thing I saw of, like, so you're using this in a very clear way of what, and it wasn't immediately this whole, I didn't mean it in the bad way or whatever. Like, there's no good way. There's no good way for us to throw this word around.
Well, okay, I mean, I think with that is what he meant, though. Not a bad way, meaning not a racist way, even though it is inherently racist.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is he's using it as a synonym for asshole, not for meaning black people.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that is him standing on that is the clarification of it. Doesn't make it all right.
Yeah, I just don't know who in their right mind sits there and think that's an okay synonym. Oh, I know that this word's charged.
But that goes back to what we're talking about gay and retard.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Sure, but PewDiePie, with all due respect, isn't an 18-year-old in Missouri.
True. That's very true.
Like, he's a man who's built his empire and is incredibly smart, obviously, and has traveled the world and done all these different things. Like, at this point, in this day and age, you're hip to the fact that that's not fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it gets hard because, and we have talked about this so many times on Game Over Greggy, where there's certain words that over time become worse and worse, and you don't say them, whereas a while back they weren't bad, or they weren't socially accepted as bad.
Yeah.
They were always bad. But yeah, there's gay, there's retard, and then there's this, and it's like, I feel like it was John Mulaney had the joke where it's just like, people will say those words, they won't say this word.
Right.
And like, there are very few words that are that bad.
Louis C.K. has a whole bit about this, right? Of like, why he hates the N-word and not the word, but the N-word, is because it then puts the word in your head, but you can't say it and you don't want to say it, but now you're dancing this line where you're thinking it, but you're not.
Yeah, and I just feel like that this word has so much loaded into it.
Yeah.
That there's just no excuses. There is no excuse in the world for PewDiePie to make that will make this okay. And I feel like it's important for this to just be a lesson, for this to be something. And I'm happy that it is being publicized in the way that it is. And it is obviously problematic, and that people are looking at this and having discussion about this. And of course, there's the people that are just attacking him. That's not going to help anything. But it's the people like Austin Walker and all them that are having discussion, pointing out what the problem is with these actions. That's important. And the fact that it's headlines all over the place is great.
Yeah.
And the fact that people like Andre can write in and have their opinions heard, because otherwise they're just going about and then there's just a bunch of white people fucking giving opinions about what they think about another white person doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Right? It's a whole damn mess.
It's still terrifying to me that Andre's listening to podcasts or YouTubers who are saying this isn't a big deal, that this isn't something, that's just a slip up. Like, I mean, I remember that one, Gamescast or Game Over Greg show, I don't even remember anymore, where I cut myself off mid-sentence talking to all of us, and it sounded like I called something gay. And I didn't. Everybody knew I was in a line of reasoning in the room that I was about to say something about gamers or gaming or whatever. But it went up that way. And when somebody wrote in, I was devastated and I watched it and it's like, no, that's clearly what it said.
I think you were saying that's gaming, but you said that's gay. Blah,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
exactly.
blah, blah.
Yeah. And it was that thing where I was devastated that would happen. And like, you know, and I hate to. I was immediately out in front of it. I was on Patreon. I was on the YouTube video. I was there talking to people on Twitter. Like, that's who I am or whatever. And I'm never going to sit here and pass judgment on how somebody handles a scandal. We've had our own here and there where it's just troublesome. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on over there. Nate Z writes in though for another thing that's risen up out of this story, mainly the Campo Santo Sean stuff. Nate Z says, by now, I'm sure we've all heard about Pewdiepie's in the news again for using a racial slur during a stream. I don't really care about that. Interesting. I'm curious your thought. Oh, okay, I see what it means. Curious your thoughts on Sean Vanneman's reaction. He's threatening a DMCA lawsuit and saying he's sick of Pewds profiting from other people's work. Personally, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. DMCA is a copyright law. He didn't violate any copyright law. Secondly, I'm sure Campo Santo was happily profiting off streamers generating sales for them. But now, because someone uses a racial slur while not even playing their game, it's an issue. I'm calling BS. What are your thoughts on his comments and a possible lawsuit?
It absolutely is a copyright issue because Campo Santo owns the copyright to the game. PewDiePie is not allowed to just stream the game.
Yeah.
It is a right that he is being given by Campo Santo, and at any time they can take away. So the premise of this question is off. On top of that, like them making money from it, it's like, yeah, they did.
He mentions that, yeah.
He even acknowledges that, but he no longer wants to make money off of it if this person is doing these actions. He's taking a stance on this, and it's not worth the money that they're going to make from it. It's more important to put his foot down and be like, no, we're not supporting actions like this, and other people shouldn't either.
Yeah. I want to let CP chime in. He wrote in a very similar question, KFGD. He says, one thing I saw on Twitter from Sean was the notion that, quote, all streaming is infringement, but devs and pubs allow it because it makes us money too, end quote. As frequent streamers yourself, how do you feel about devs limiting who has the right to stream their game? And do you feel like once a game is released, anyone has the right to stream it? I mean, the big thing for both Nate and CP about this is that Sean's right. I mean, look at Nintendo, right? Where it's like Nintendo did come out and be like, all right, cool. If you're going to stream all this, we're going to get all of it. And if you won't play nice, you won't monetize from it. And we'll do this. Like, it is their thing. And I know that when this was all happening yesterday and Sean made the tweets, there was a lot of things of like, well, over on the Campo Santos page or the Firewatch page, it has a note to streamers saying you're welcome to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was Total Biscuit then going through talking to a lawyer of like, and not trying to fight it, but trying to get perspective of, does that page make it legally binding that Pewds can go do this and do that and not have to worry about that? And I believe, unless I'm wrong, kindoffunny.com/you're wrong, Total Biscuit, after talking to the lawyer, was like, no, this doesn't hold up. This is within the rights of Sean Vanneman and them. How do I feel?
That's very interesting.
How I feel about it, it doesn't violate copyright. For me, I think the fact that it was pulled down pretty much immediately shows you all you need to do. I don't think it was ever, we're really going to sue as much as like, hey, take this shit down. We don't support you. We're not with you. And I think that's what happened. And I think it's not an empty threat. If it needed to get to that point, I think it would have gotten to that point, but it's them making a stand. It is them taking a stand and saying, we don't want this. And you're, blah, blah, blah. How do I feel about that? I know it's a shitty thing to say for a lot of people and probably Nate Z. I'm totally fine with that. Like, it's one of those, like, we are in the Wild West of what we do in terms of game streaming, how this all works, how influencers work with developers and da-da-da. Not everybody has to play nice. I mean, there's studio publishers, PR, whatever you want to call them, that don't work with us because they don't like us or whatever. And that's fine. That's totally within their right. I don't think if we put up a video for their game or something, they'd come and make us take it down or something to that effect. But they would, and then I would just know not to do that and not stream those games or anymore because it's not worth me fighting. That's not who I am. And that's the same thing with PewDiePie, where it's like, if this is the march they're going to go on, if he's going to buckle down and be this guy, I think advertisers are going to pull out and not want to be a part of him. Obviously, it already happened with Disney and stuff like that. But I also think game people have the right to say that. I do think you have the right to say who, you know what I mean? It's the same thing what we talk about with Kind of Funny, right? Like, Kind of Funny is this community of best friends. And I want everybody to come in and I want everybody to be cool to each other. And when somebody's not cool, we say, you know, maybe this isn't the community for you. Just because it is open to everyone doesn't mean you have the right to come in and be an asshole then and be a fucking jerk. Just leave. We'd rather keep it small and keep it this way. And I think Campo Santo, what they're saying here is the exact same thing, where we're never going to be the size of EA. We're never going to be Ubisoft. So we can make these stances. We can make our beliefs known. And like, if you don't like those beliefs, fine. It's similar to Matt Con. I'm thinking of his Twitter handle, but Read Only Memories 2064 or whatever, right? When he was like, I don't want any Republicans playing my game or whatever. And it was a bold, brash statement that I don't agree with, but he said it and it's his game and it's his thing. So that's what he gets to go do with. Like,
I mean, that's free speech when it comes down to it.
Like, we're consuming art, and it is that thing of the artist is part of that process. The artists here, you know, don't agree with this stance, and they're going to make it known that they don't agree with that. And again, yeah, that's their right. To this whole thing of like the copyright, this, like, yeah, it's not. I guess it's a weird way. Again, this is the similar thing what we're talking about, where it's like I am not briefed on DMCA law. You know what I mean? I don't know what the rights are. I think if anything, it's just more of a, hey.
I mean, it's clear. I mean, it's just YouTube TOS 101, like front page of it, where it's just, if you don't own the thing, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
Okay.
There's no fair use no, that doesn't exist as a right. Fair use is a defense in court. That is it. It is not a thing where people are allowed to use music, allowed to use clips. No. That's just not how this works. And people get caught up thinking that they have the rights to do all this stuff. And YouTube, to their credit, has done a really good job over the years of figuring out ways to split money between creators and people using other footage or whatever it is. And in addition to that, letting you know what's going to happen if you use a certain song. Like, you can go on and look at the music library and it'll tell you, they'll take this much, you'll get blocked in these countries. Like, that's how Kind of Funny Live 3 and 2 and 1 are on YouTube at all, is because I was able to go in and figure out what songs are going to do what. With video games, it's the exact same thing. It's like the copyright system looks and it sees audio and visual. So if you don't own the audio and visual, you are using someone else's copyrighted material.
Yeah. And that's that. And I understand that this is literally, I guess, looking at this from the outsider, and let's say, because I agree, go Sean Vanneman, go Campo Santo, do your thing. I say to developers all over the place, do your thing, do you. You know what I mean? We are lucky enough to exist in a time and place in this art where you can make these stances and people can agree or disagree.
Vote with your wallet. If you don't support them doing this,
exactly. And this is my point, where I think the counter argument to this would be like, well, what about you give Kind of Funny? You say you don't like Madden. EA says never fucking play our games and take all of our stuff away. They would do it, and I would shout that from the rooftops. And I would say, hey, it's not because I'm being a bad person. It's not because I'm putting up... I'm not, to our very small audience, not even to wrap our head around about how big PewDiePie's reach is. I'm not using slurs. I'm not putting up crazy signs. I'm not making jokes and quotes that, come on, it was just a joke. I'm not using my power that way, right? There's a world of difference between what PewDiePie has done and people saying we don't want to work with him, and then me saying I don't like this game, and a developer not wanting to work with me, or a publisher, whoever, not wanting to work with me. That again would come back to you, the consumer of our content, the consumer of video games, to be like, that's fucked up. And maybe you think what Campo Santo is doing is fucked up. Don't support their games anymore. Tweet at them nicely and let them know, hey, I'm not supporting you because I think you've crossed the line here. You could do, and that would be the same thing. And it's not apples to apples in that way. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing where it's like, let's say publisher or developer X is like, we don't believe in transgender people. So if you are a transgender person, you stream or YouTube our game, we're going to use this DMC. Okay, go ahead and make that stance. Go ahead and make that stance. And I'm sure there's a bunch of people who support you. The majority won't. And the majority won't have anything to fucking do with you, and it'll go away. This is how the market works, and what you're saying is vote with your wallet is correct. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a weird thing of, I don't know. I don't want to put anybody down. It's just a weird world to wake up to where I have to have somebody, a best friend like Andre, write in, and we have to justify that. Yep. This is terrible, and this shouldn't happen, and this is horrible and embarrassing for everyone involved. And I just mean everyone is a society of human beings that you have to put up with something like this. Let's get to happier news. Number 2, Destiny 2 is slaying, according to the opening weekend. Bungie tweeted out, "Thank you all so much for playing Guardians. Right now, Destiny 2 has over 1.2 million concurrent players online. We'll see you in the wild." Again, to remind you, it's just out on Xbox. It's just out on PlayStation. Not PC yet. 1.2 million concurrents at one time. Saying that that's who's all online right now, not the fact that's how many games we've sold or whatever, because that game has sold well. Because over at gamesindustry.biz, they have the UK charts. Destiny 2 is the biggest launch of the year so far, but its first week sales are down almost 58% compared to the original.
Interesting.
Right? It is the latest major sequel on this console generation that has struggled to live up to its predecessor, following in the footsteps of Watch Dogs 2 and Titanfall 2. Excuse me. However, it's important to note that digital is taking an every bigger, I think that's a typo.
Even.
Huh?
Even bigger.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying they typoed, all right? I'm saying that's not me, all right?
I was helping you.
Thank you. An even bigger slice of the console was also released... sorry.
Market.
Shut up, Tim. Get out of my head. Let me
Helping you,
read.
bro.
However, it's important to note that digital is taking an even bigger slice of the console market, and this data does not include digital figures. Furthermore, the original Destiny was also released on PS3 and Xbox 360, whereas the sequel has not been. As a game that's all about building a sustainable community, the true success of Destiny 2 will not be judged until much further down the line. 58% of the game's sales were on PlayStation 4. As a result, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy takes a tumble to number 2 on the UK charts with a 49% drop in sales. You're not going to play any of Destiny.
I am not.
Why not? Just try it. It's so fucking good, Tim.
Can I just try it? Is that the type of game that I can just try?
Just try it. Just try it. Play with me. Andy and I love it.
I'll try it.
Join Funky Cool Medina with us. Come on.
Funky Cool Medina.
Dude, I'm so in love. I'm like, it sucks. Like, it sucks how much I'm into this game. Because it's now that thing where it just eats the back of your eyes. It's like, fuck, I wish I was playing right now. You know what I mean? Yesterday, going around having a great time with Jen and her sister, but I'm like... we need to talk. I want to take a day off this week because yesterday I totally burned out and I was just a grumpy goose, just not having it. And I was like, why? And I was like, oh, well, I haven't had a weekend off in a long time, including this fun weekend, but entertaining people, visiting people. And it was like, but geez, like last night getting home and fucking putting on the headset and just playing with Andy and Lou for a while. I was like, fuck, this game's so good. This game's so good.
I mean, it's blowing my mind seeing everybody in my sphere tweet about this game and be so positive about it because I feel like there was so much negativity and the games media industry is always, it's just a cycle of the same shit where things are announced, it's all like, oh, fuck this, it's the
Destiny
same, it's the same.
1.5.
Yeah, but then now it's here and everyone's all about it.
I think it was Polygon.
But it makes me happy that it seems like it's giving people what they want and solved a lot of the problems.
I think it was Polygon. It was somebody I caught when I was reading on Gaff, the review thread, when people started actually putting scores up. And I think it was Polygon that said, it's Destiny, but without all the bullshit. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, all the stuff you guys wanted in that first game that didn't necessarily hit or didn't come out at launch is here. And in terms of where, sales are down, it's still the best selling game for the week or whatever. Sales are down. I think there's a lot to be said for digital. I think there's a lot to be said for fewer platforms. I think there's a lot to be said as well, though, I think this was a much more... we all saw people get burned last time around. I got burned last time around. I'm going to see what nets out with this one. And I think now that you see these scores, you see these opinions, and you do see, even the most jaded among us on my Twitter feed, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but, the people who've been around a long time and have a lot to say about games are all like, fuck, I'm having fun. This is so much fun to be running around and doing this. And it is what it was from Destiny 1. I tweeted over the weekend, Destiny 2 is a fantastic game. And so many people were like, well, why though? It just looks like more Destiny 1. And it is more Destiny, but it's all the parts I want from Destiny, where it is just it's all attainable. Whereas before I felt like, I'm running the same moon mission over and over again. I'm running around, I'm doing these different patrols, I'm taking these different,
Did you beat the campaign?
Yeah.
Was it cool?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like...
How long was the campaign?
Not terribly long. That was the problem.
6 hours?
No, longer than that. Yeah, I mean, I would say between 8 and 10, I guess. Because it gets confusing because it was we did the streams those first 3 days, right? When you were gone or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I played a little bit at home. And I think it was after the third stream and then going home and playing that night. Maybe it was 2 streams. I think playing that night. Me and Andrea beat it. And I was like, is this shorter? We just been playing forever. Because it is literally that game where last night I was running through doing... missions, trying to get better gear and all this jazz, and it was all right, cool, 10 o'clock, look back, oh my god, it's 11:45. It's just time just goes and you lose it. So, but Andrea, who's Miss Destiny, the expert player, she was like, no, this story's not that long. It's not that long of a campaign. And that's the thing too, where it's like, I'd gladly come back and play with you to run you through all that stuff and do that. And like the cutscenes are beautiful. They have some really fucking awesome set pieces at the end.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Like just,
Bungie,
just
man.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. They know what they're doing.
Their set pieces, at least back in the old Halo days, were so good. End of Halo 1. God damn.
Tim, let's get to some stuff you care about.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Well, before we do that, I want to say something because you misspoke a little bit with the quote, but Destiny 2 is the biggest launch of the year. So it's not just this week. Like, this all sounds like doom and gloom, but for perspective, it is still the biggest
UK launch this year.
Oh, just UK.
Right. This Games Industry Biz is reporting on the UK numbers. UK puts out the sales charts every week.
Got it.
So I think they're talking for the UK, it's the biggest launch of the year.
Okay, that's still a good sign.
Dude, with all due respect to every other game that's come out, Destiny 2 in America is going to be that as well.
Yeah.
Like this game is everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone,
So,
I'm lucky enough, even though I'm trying to get rid of you all, to have 2,000 friends on PSN. And like when I jump on there, everyone's playing this. And not just,
I think that like this, there's a lot of numbers and percentages and all this stuff. I think that this game is going to net out very high.
Oh, yeah.
And very soon, not just in like lifetime, but like within the next month.
Yeah.
So, cool.
No,
So,
and doom and gloom is an interesting way to put it. Andy kept talking about it when we were playing this weekend we did the Gamescast, which is up right now. youtube.com/kindoffunnygames podcast services around the globe. We missed you, Tim. But it was me, Andrea, and Andy talking about Destiny 2. And it was that thing where you get into that scenario where you're in there and what you're talking about is the things they didn't do and the shaders and this and blah, blah, blah. And I think we all, not me, I kept saying, looking at the camera, like, I fucking love it. But like Andy, I think definitely to speak for him was like, regretted it. Where he was in the forums and stuff like, man, I talked a lot of shit about that game, but this game's fucking awesome. Like, so good. Try it out, Timmy. Just try it. Number 3. There's a Nintendo Direct coming Wednesday.
Yes!
Tune in on
Finally!
September 13th at 3 p.m. Pacific time for nearly 45 minutes of information mainly focused on what's headed to Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS over the next few months, including new details about Super Mario Odyssey. Check it out at nintendo.com/Nintendo-Direct.
Greg, it has been too long since we've got a proper Nintendo Direct.
So you're not counting the Nindies thing as a proper
That's
Nintendo
a showcase.
Direct. Okay.
Like they have a whole bunch of different names that they've been like using for things. There's the spotlights, there's the showcases, whatever. A Nintendo Direct, that's special. So we got the, I forgot if they were called directs or spotlights for Splatoon 2 or for ARMS.
Yeah.
And those are the more focused. We've got those before back for Mario Kart 8 for Smash Brothers Wii U, where they focus on the one game and do a blowout on it, right? Maybe they'll mention one other thing or like put a trailer out. Like for example, ARMS had the trailer for Splatoon, and then they had the Splatoon one after that. So things like that. But this is a big deal because we're finally going to get a lot of concrete information for things that we didn't know. We recently got the Fire Emblem Warriors release date. I imagine this is where we'll get the Xenoblade release date as well.
Hold your horses, because I want to let Ryan Salvo chime in. He wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, says, "Hi, Tim and Greg. What are your predictions for the Nintendo Direct this Wednesday? Do you think we'll get an update on indie titles like Hollow Knight or Axiom Verge? I've wanted to play both of those, but have decided to wait for the Switch versions. What's it going to look like?" You're saying...
So, Nintendo, with all their different various platforms to deliver information that they've used since the Switch launched, they always put it out with that one sentence description of what it's going to be. And so far, it's always exactly that. Nindies Showcase, we're going to show off X amount of Nindies games. That's how many they show off. We're going to talk about ARMS, and there will be a Splatoon trailer. That's what or an update on Splatoon. That's what you get. There's not these megaton announcements coming. There's no like, but one more thing. It's just they're telling you what you're going to get.
But didn't they lie to us?
The exception being E3. E3 was the one thing where they're like, we're talking about the Nintendo Switch in 2017, and they talked a lot about 2018 games. Yoshi, Kirby, Metroid Prime 4, which might not be 2018, and Pokemon, which might not be 2018. So with this, what we got is 45 minutes of information, mainly focused on what's headed to the Switch and 3DS over the next few months, including new details about Mario Odyssey. So with that, you got to imagine we're getting at least 15 minutes of Mario Odyssey.
You think so?
If
New
not
levels,
more.
Right?
They're going to talk about Samus Returns, if that's not out already. I don't know when that game comes out.
That comes out Friday.
This Friday? Well, they'll mention it at the very least. The rest of the 3DS. Oh, Pokemon Sun and Moon. We'll get some new shit about that. Otherwise, I think it's really just all the games that we already know are coming to Switch that we don't have information about. Skyrim. What's the release date? Right? FIFA. The 2K18 NBA.
NBA.
And maybe WWE.
I don't think you get WWE.
But it also don't, it doesn't sound right. But that might be like a sizzle reel type thing.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll get dates on those and more information and like what makes them special on the Switch, right? Xenoblade, like I said, and Fire Emblem Warriors. We'll see a little update on that or whatever. The Japanese Direct is 5 minutes longer than
that's interesting.
Than the other ones, and the Nintendo's been doing that where it's like there's slightly different things in each territory.
Okay.
I imagine that might be Mario plus Rabbids because that game's not out in Japan yet.
Oh, interesting.
So we'll have to see about that. But 45 minutes is a long
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time.
Direct. And granted, Mario Odyssey, they're going to show off a lot, so that's going to take up a huge chunk of it. I'm not expecting too much crazy announcements from this, but this is a proper Nintendo Direct. So
which you haven't seen in a while.
We haven't seen in a while, and I think that this might be their big holiday push of getting people to SNES Mini. There'll be more stuff about that. They might announce a 3DS or 2DS XL version of that's like Super Nintendo themed in America.
Okay.
But yeah, like, will we see Pokemon? Probably not. Will we see Metroid Prime 4? Probably not. Will we see more on the Kirby 3DS game? Absolutely. Yoshi on the Switch? Possibly. Kirby on Switch? Possibly. I feel like this is the time we might start getting some of those early.
Do you think you'll see this Hollow Knight? You'll see this Axiom Verge stuff?
No.
Okay.
I think that the smaller indie titles are going to be reserved for the indie showcases.
Do you think we get a Mario Golf?
No.
Do we get a Smash? Anything Smash?
So Smash Brothers is a definite possibility.
Okay.
Like, I'm not trying to get too excited about this.
You're not trying to get Gatorade hype moment on me.
Yeah. But if I was going to Gatorade hype moment, I do feel like it's a great time to Smash Bros. Switch
Deluxe.
Announce it for February, maybe March, somewhere between January and March.
Okay.
It won't be this year. It's too stacked this year. Mario Maker is another thing that they could just pull out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Pokken Tournament is another thing that they'll
definitely
show more shit of.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be exciting. But I do think that it's going to retread a lot of what we already know with one key piece of information for each of those games.
Let me pull in one question here that I think walks a line that we're talking about. The fantastic Ian. I was trying to do it there. I couldn't do it. Hi. What do you guys think the chances are that we'll see the Animal Crossing mobile game revealed at the Apple conference tomorrow? We haven't heard a peep about it other than it's still slated to come out this year. Seeing as how successful the reveal for Mario Run was, what are the chances we'll see a similar thing a second time around? This is like in the same vein of like there's a Direct this week, but there is this Apple conference on Tuesday.
Couple things here. First off, totally forgot about the Apple conference. I'm so excited. Let's go. iPhone X. Let's make this shit happen. I saw on NeoGAF that it's confirmed that there'll be no mobile talk in this Direct.
Okay.
Don't know the source of that.
Okay.
But I saw
Mr.
that.
Nintendo, I assume.
Mr. Nintendo himself. We are overdue for some Animal Crossing mobile news.
Yeah.
That timing would be nice. I wouldn't bet on it.
Okay.
There's too much going on in the Apple conference, that rumored at least. Like there's rumors of the iPhone X plus the iPhone 8 line, so the 8 and 8S, in addition to the Apple Watch Series 3, in addition to potential new Mac updates. There's too much
rumors
going on
that
I don't know where the Animal Crossing thing would fit. So I wouldn't put money on that. And I also think that I would bet on Nintendo trying to announce Animal Crossing Switch and Animal Crossing Mobile at the same time and talking about some type of synergy between the two. And I don't think it's Animal Crossing time yet.
Okay.
However, that would be huge.
That'd be awesome.
That would be huge. And imagine if Animal Crossing Mobile was announced at the Apple conference and then Nintendo did its Direct the day after and announced Animal Crossing Switch and that they'd be compatible. That's to be too good to be true.
Yeah. But it's happened recently, so who knows? Number 4 is more Switch stuff. Switch might be getting achievements. This is via IGN. During a Reddit AMA, the team behind Licksphere, right? Licksphere, which is coming to Switch, were asked about whether the game supported online rankings. In the reply, team member Tom indicated that they were hoping to add rankings along the way, also dropping an intriguing little nugget. Quote, Nintendo doesn't have an official support for achievements and leaderboards like Sony or Microsoft, but we know they're working on it, end quote. When called out on it, Tom responded with a guilty, oops, before adding that he thinks Nintendo hinted at it a few times. If these devs are to be believed, Nintendo is working away behind the scenes on some kind of achievement system, but as of now, we have no idea what that might look like. It should also be noted that Nintendo has made no official comment on this. As always, anything unconfirmed by Nintendo should be taken with a pinch of salt. What'd you take away from that? You think it's real?
So
they're tying up leaderboards.
We've talked to multiple Mr. Nintendos. And obviously, you'd be surprised, but trophies and achievements come up a lot when we are talking to these people. And all of them have, without saying as much, been like, that's not what Nintendo's audience needs. Like, that's not what we're looking for. That's not what we're focused on. Like, and they shrug it off in such a way that I would be shocked if there was actually an achievement system being put in place.
I think they both sailed. You would have wanted it at launch, but I guess you also would have wanted virtual console.
Now, that's the thing, is that I do think that Nintendo is noticing a change in their place in the market. And with the success of the Switch, you got to believe that virtual console and their online infrastructure and whatever they're calling the classic games that you get on if you have the monthly thing or whatever, that is going to change how they do things. Whenever that comes out, that could be with the launch with some form of achievement system, some form of trophy system. I really hope that that's the case. I don't think that this news story and this nugget is
enough. Well, the fact that it's like looped in with leaderboards and stuff make me think it could be just more of an online structure that way than achievements necessarily.
Well, that's why I think that it would all be linked. I think it would be linked to the Nintendo
ID and
the Nintendo ID, but whatever their online service, Nintendo
that app
Online
thing. I think I've heard what they're calling.
I think that's all. It would be linked together, and I think that it would make sense to have the achievement system locked to online. Not that it makes sense from a gamer perspective, but it would make sense from a Nintendo perspective of trying to add value to their online subscription. Because right now people do not see the value in it.
Number 5, no VR for Nintendo, according to Variety. Variety had this thing called the Entertainment and Tech Summit presented by Twitch on Thursday. And now I'm going to read you from Variety, where Reggie Fils-Aimé, president. Fils-Aimé. Phil's Anime. President and Chief Operating Officer of Nintendo of America, says that VR is not in the company's immediate future. Although the company first experimented with virtual reality in the 1990s with Virtual Boy, quote, the problem with VR is that there aren't a lot of experiences that are truly fun, said Reggie. The company...
Damn.
Yeah, right? The company has had much more success with augmented reality, which debuted with the Nintendo 3DS console. The potential for more games with AR capabilities is much stronger, considering the company's experience with the medium, and although there are no plans to experiment with VR, Reggie said the company may consider it in the future. Just, some shade there. There's no fun VR games.
I mean, some shade. Reggie is a talker. Reggie is a businessman through and through. He'll say whatever he needs to say at the right time. And God bless him for it, right? Yeah. You can find quotes of him saying, please be excited. We're going to have a great E3. And then we've seen some of the E3s that they've given us. Yeah. Like, he's going to do what he needs to do.
Reggie gonna Reggie.
But this is a perfect thing. Nintendo has always been about the games, period. Which is another quote that Reggie made that I don't know if you guys talked about on Games Daily last week. But he came out and somewhere said, Nintendo is an entertainment company. And it's like, well, you've been touting for the past decade that you're a games company and that you're not an entertainment company like the other guys. So I don't like that.
Well, now they got Super Nintendo World and all that jazz.
So there's that type of shit. But when it comes to this, Nintendo's always been about games and fun experiences and gameplay first, and VR is simply not there yet. So him saying this, it's like them not being truly fun. I don't think that that's as shade as it sounds. I think it's just a fact where so far VR at its best is experiences, and it is more like living movies or like shooting ranges and things like that. They're not fun gameplay experiences, right? It's more of just like you're just in this world. It's immersive things. So I feel like until there's a fun factor figured out with VR, Nintendo's not going to be a part of it.
Okay. Well, no VR for Nintendo, Tim, but a lot of other games are coming out. If I want to know what was in the digital mom and grop shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the California Games Daily host each and every weekday.
Out today, TTV2 on PC.
All right.
You got a new date too for Automega. September 19th, PC only. It's a Ubisoft title from the people who do Grow Home. So there you go. Deals of the day. I tossed this one in there. Canada is getting PlayStation 4 bundles for NHL 18 and NBA 2K18 on September 15th for $379 Canadian. Now, Let's check in with the readers. But first, I want to say that Reader Mail is brought to you by Bombfell. Bombfell is an online personal styling service for men that helps find the right clothes for you. Bombfell is the easier way for men to get better clothes. As you know, I talk about all the time on the shows. I hate shopping. So when these people approach me and we're like, go here, what do you like to wear? What don't you like to wear? Do this, do that. We'll send you a box of clothes. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. So it's on its way. I'm very excited for it.
It's awesome. Big fan.
Have you been using it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bombfell's great. So, yeah, you go, and then it's just like, it asks you what your style is, and there's a whole bunch of different options, and it's like, would you wear this? Would you not wear this? And you can just like be like, I would never wear this. You can, from always to never, like the
cool.
like 5-point scale thing. Big fan of it.
Oh, okay, neat.
It's awesome. And yeah, at the end of it, when I saw the picture of the guy that I'm like, this is what your style looks like. I'm like, yeah.
That's me.
A lot of bomber jackets.
Your stylist will email you his or her selections, after which you'll have 48 hours to make any changes or even cancel altogether. You're in total control. There are no fees. You only pay for the clothes you keep. Bombfell is the only service that can make this claim. It's convenient and straightforward. It's completely flexible. You can receive clothes every 1, 2, or 3 months, and you can pause or cancel at any time. We have a special offer just for listeners of you, Kinda Funny Games Daily. For $25 off your first purchase, go to bombfell.com/kindafunny. That's BOMBFELL.com/kindafunny. Once again, that's bombfell.com/kindafunny for $25 off your first purchase. First question is going to Mark Lark. Mark Lark writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, will Uncharted 4 be a top 50 PlayStation 4 games list? Be on a top 20, whatever. Back in the IGN days, one Greg Miller and the late great Colin Moriarty left Metal Gear Solid 4 off the top 50 PS3 games list. The reason, if I remember correctly, was that Metal Gear Solid 4 relied so much on the previous game's stories and events that took place in those games. In other words, the game can't really stand on its own story-wise. With this logic in mind, will Uncharted 4 make a top 50 PlayStation 4 games list? Now, of course, top 50 lists or top lists of any kind are subjective. I can't speak to anybody else in the world, but yes, of course it will. Don't try to catch us on this or try to act like you got us by a technicality. You play Metal Gear Solid 4, you haven't played any other games, you have no fucking idea what's going on.
But you're wrong. You're wrong, Greg. There are very few things that I just fundamentally disagree with you on.
Sure.
One of them, Uncharted 3 being better than Uncharted 2.
Sure.
Another one of them, that Metal Gear Solid 4 wasn't on your guys' top 25 list. That was the most, I'm Colin and Greg. We're the PlayStation guys, so we need to have some stance to stand on that makes us better than everyone else. I'm calling it like it is.
Apparently, okay, I don't know.
Just the truth.
I liked how Colin and Greg became one sentient being.
You did. But when you guys were at IGN, you were one sentient being, and this was the one thing that held you guys together.
Okay, this is our one thing.
You had this. You were like, this is it. Well, there's PlayStation Vita and the two things.
It was a list of games you would recommend to somebody who would never own a PS3 before.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is a fun-ass game, gameplay-wise. That alone, you're telling me that gameplay alone doesn't get into the top 25 PlayStation 4 games, 3 games, any fucking PlayStation game.
That wasn't the list, sir.
Fantastic.
That wasn't the list. It wasn't gameplay alone. It wasn't the top 25 PS3 gameplay alone experiences.
You didn't know what's going on. It was still a ride.
That's what you would fall out of it.
Curran Wong didn't play a single Metal Gear Solid game.
But
Played
he's
Metal Gear
an
Solid
idiot.
4.
We know that.
Loved it.
Uncharted 4 doesn't have the same problems. Uncharted 4, top 25 PlayStation 4 games? Yeah, it's going to be on there.
Absolutely.
Come on now, don't be crazy. Fucking, I love Metal Gear Solid 4.
Me too, man. I want to play it again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Give
if they
it
put
to
it
us.
out, right? Yeah. Oh, here, I want your impression on this. So while you were gone, Destiny 2 came out and everybody was super happy. Then the shader thing happened. Have you been caught up on shaders?
No, I just keep seeing people talk about shaders.
They're one-time use shaders. They only get applied to one item in your things, like the gun or your chest piece or your arms. And before it was like, I want this shader all over my body. Boom. It was all over my body, and it was, I want to take it off and put another one on there. I still own that shader. Whereas now, if I make my thing bright pink, my chest piece is bright pink, and I take it away. My chest piece is bright pink, but I reskin it another color or something, then the bright pink shader's gone. I have to they're one-time use, if that makes sense. Okay, cool.
People keep saying they look like Skittles. Like, all characters run around looking like a bag of Skittles.
I do. I have this sick green on, and for a second I had a good green mask and a good green cape and a good green chest piece. I was using the watermelon shader, and then I got rid of it, and so now I don't look as cool, but I did look super bright.
Shader's gonna shade.
Shader gonna shade. Zach W. Carpenter writes in about shader/loot boxes. Greetings, Games Daily crew. Now I might just be a small town pizza lord, Okay, I'm not a lawyer at all. But I wanted to add a comment to the discussion about loot boxes being gambling for minors. So these shaders are inside of loot boxes, right?
Yeah.
We started using the term, Andrea was talking about loot boxes and how they're gambling, blah, blah, blah. Then I got into this whole thing of like, I'm not arguing that you're taking a gamble on what you're going to get out of that loot box with real money, but it's not gambling, right? It's like a capsule machine where you put it, you're going to get something out, but maybe you don't get the snap bracelet you wanted, you get some other one. Greg's example of a capsule machine was a great comparison. I'm not sure if loot boxes are gambling. When you purchase a loot box, you always get something. There's never a loot box that opens and says, sorry, it was empty, sucker. You might not get the skin or shader we were hoping for every time, but you always get something. I feel gambling includes the risk of losing money, which you don't do with a loot box. You pay money, you get in-game stuff. These were my thoughts and responses to Friday's show. I hope they build on the conversation. Thanks for all you do, Zach W. Carpenter. Does that make sense to you?
I agree with that completely.
Do you think, but they're a gamble, but they're not gambling?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's a pretty clear delineation.
I just want to make sure we're all about it
The
together.
capsule machine is very
I nailed it, right?
It is, yeah.
Fucking crushed it. And I'm not suing no capsule machine at Safeway. All right, 2 more questions. Gmoney5593 says, hi, Greg. With Infamous Second Son making its way to the free PlayStation Plus games for September, I was wondering if you would recommend checking it out. I, like you, loved the first 2 installments of Infamous on PS3, but after picking up a PS4 late and hearing somewhat mediocre reviews about Second Son, I never picked it up. I still have Horizon and Uncharted in my backlog because I can't stop playing Bloodborne. So, it's really a question of time, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Loaded question. I would recommend you play Infamous Second Son. At least download it for sure. It's free. You got nothing to lose. But I would definitely get through Uncharted and what was it? Horizon. Fucking before I would get to Second Son. Second Son's fun, but it's not like groundbreaking.
Horizon is one of the best games of the year, and Uncharted is one of the best games of last year. So do it.
Where are you right now with your game of the year? Zelda still?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but my firm stance on game of the year is that I don't even want Zelda to be part of the conversation, because to me, it's game of the generation, done. Game of the decade, game of the... it's up there. It's a classic. It's a damn classic, and I think it always will be. So, in terms of what is my game of the year, Horizon's definitely up there. I need to think about it a bit more.
Okay. As someone
PUBG is definitely in the conversation.
Now, here's a question Andrea and I were kicking around too, is the fact that, do you think PUBG should be disqualified from Game of the Year running because it's not in full release yet?
I don't care.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too.
The amount of fun I've had, the amount of time I've put into it, and the amount I think about that game, and the amount that my friends are playing that game, that's what matters. The labels of beta, early access, or whatever, it's like, that doesn't matter. I'm playing a game.
Sure.
Having a lot of fun with it.
Now, you said all that, but how
don't get in my way.
How do you how much fun you've had, how much you've played it, do you feel you need to spend a weekend with Friday the 13th to correctly say that's game of the year?
No, because I am a firm believer that I'm not one of those guys that I need to play everything to make sure I'm making the right call. No, I had a great time with PUBG, so I'm going to give it to PUBG.
Okay. But you're really going to vote for Zelda when you get there. Well, you're not going to hang your hat on this game of the decade shit. So you can't.
I am. Zelda is the fucking game of the year. Like, there's no question. That game did something that I've never seen a video game do in my adult life. Being young, there's magic left and right. There's Super Mario World. There's pretty much any Nintendo game. And then there's things like Grand Theft Auto 3 that happened. There's things like Metal Gear Solid that happened, where it's like, these are moments where you're like, holy shit, this is more than a video. Half-Life. Wow. We had that with Zelda. That's so special. Horizon, amazing game. It's not that.
Okay. I still think right now I would vote Horizon, but I do love Zelda. I'm not like shitting all over it or anything.
Oh yeah.
Of course, then Friday the 13th, don't forget. And there's Patapon. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of up and coming things here. Since we have so many people at Kind of Funny now, what I'm really going to do is make my choice and then get Cool Greg and Joey Noel on my side. And then lobby for their votes, and they'll just go wherever I want to do. Chris in London writes in with the final question of the day to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, hello, KFGD show host. Kevin Conroy, that's Batman, this weekend said there are no more plans for future Arkham games. Do you believe him? And if so, what do you think Rocksteady might be working on next? Greg, are you still hoping for a Justice League game without Kevin C., or is the dream dead? Keep up the great work and keep fucking that chicken, Chris. Here's the thing. Rocksteady and now Kevin Conroy have been very clear that the Arkham games are done. They're being very specific about that, are they not? They're not saying Rocksteady Batman games are done. There's been so many rumors, obviously, of like WB Montreal was working on a Superman game. No, then they moved over, they were working on a Suicide Squad game. No, now it's a Justice League game. And then, the Rocksteady thing is that there's been rumors of a Damian Wayne game going on and da-da-da-da-da. I think Rocksteady is working on another Batman game. I think that if there's a Bruce Wayne character in it, I would fucking die for a Batman Beyond game, of course. Just fucking do that and pick it up in that world, but not call it Arkham anything. Kevin Conroy is going to be a part of it, but I think they've just cultured him on a way around this, where you can be like, oh no, the Arkham games are done. They're, Rocksteady's not going to do the Arkham games anymore, and you get away from it, and you feel like you actually accomplished something. But in reality, they're working on a fucking Batman game over there. Batman is in their next game, I swear to God. It must be. I don't know. I've given up on a Justice League game. Whatever. Yeah. Just make more DC superhero games in general. Tim, it's time to squad up.
Never roll alone.
This is where one of you goes to kindafunny.com/KFGD. Give me your name, your platform, your username, and what you need help with. I read it here. Friends find you. Everybody has a good time. Is it going to be about Destiny? Probably. Brendan writes into saying what I just said. He needs help on the PlayStation 4. His PSN name is TEC_Agent of Evil. All one word. TEC_Agent of Evil. Hey guys, name's Brendan, and my gamer tag is TEC_Agent of Evil on PlayStation 4, and I'm just looking for some mates. Oi! To play Destiny 2 with. My clan is small and just 3 people, but we need more so we can complete the raid. Our clan is called the Volus Bankers. Is that a reference to Destiny there, Andy? VOLUS? Mass Effect? Okay. And we're on PS4. We're looking for hardcore players who are on most nights who can join our fire team. Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work. Everybody, if you want to play Destiny with some hardcore motherfuckers from merry old England, I assume, go over and hit up TEC_Agent of Evil. Squad Up was brought to you by DraftKings. Week 1 is in the books, but it's not too late to get closer to the game you love with DraftKings 1 Week Fantasy Football. This Sunday, DraftKings is hosting a $100,000 Pick'em contest that is totally free to enter. Pick'em is the newest way to play 1 Week Fantasy Football. DraftKings has organized players into 8 tiers. All you have to do is select one player from each tier. Choose between public contests with big cash prizes or private contests where you can compete against a group of friends. DraftKings also has beginner and casual contests where you'll play against people of similar skill level. The best part is, you can draft a new team each week without any commitment. So, get to DraftKings.com/now. No, I'm sorry. Get to DraftKings.com now and use the promo code KINDAFUNNY, all one words, to play in DraftKings free contest with $100,000 in total prizes this Sunday. That's promo code KINDAFUNNY to compete for your share of $100,000 in total prizes. This contest is totally free to enter. Why wouldn't you try it? DraftKings, the game inside the game. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Oh, that's good.
I was so happy to do that last week because it's just like, it's such a radio show announcer thing to do. Tim?
Yes.
What did we get wrong?
So there's a couple things here. It's an interesting. I want to bring it up to you, Greg.
Sure.
But Griswold Diablo says, Greg, you're wrong. The website is legally binding. Leonard French, lawyer from channel Lawful Masses, went over this. And it's what we were talking about Carlos Santos' site saying that. So, I don't know. Your lawyer that you're talking about, not your lawyer, but the lawyer that
what I saw a Total Biscuit tweet about, I thought was the opposite of that.
Was not legally binding. This lawyer says it is legally binding. I'm not sure. I don't know
We're not here about the legalities.
Exactly, but it is interesting that on their site they do give people rights.
I think it's just another, and like back to this point, it's just like I said, I think it was just an empty threat, and it is very clearly making your stance to make your business known. And why wouldn't he pull those down? Instead of getting more angry people mad at him about stuff.
Yeah. And then the next one, the only other thing was Gossi saying, not editorializing, it's just the law. From the Stanford University Library, it says, quote, in its most general sense, a fair use is any copying of copyrighted material done for a limited and transformative purpose, such as to comment upon, criticize, or parody a copyrighted work. Such uses can be done without permission from the copyright owner. PewDiePie's content was transformative and commented upon. This is the fundamental aspect of fair use, and in simple terms, we can't simply choose when to follow these laws because of the individual in question.
Sure.
This goes exactly with what I'm saying, where it is not a law, it is a defense, where it's not we pick and choose. You pick and choose when you're getting sued. So that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
They would have to put that out there and be like, here's why. Like that would be PewDiePie's defense. Is that here's how it's transformative. He's not going to win that lawsuit.
Okay.
Like that's just this is not. No judge is going to look at this and be like, that's fair use and transformative in a way that's for this. Fair use is for like news and stuff like that.
Right.
And yeah, it could be applied for anything. Like parody and all that stuff. That's
why you go to court to argue your case.
In the court cases where fair use has been brought up, majority of the time it is in a way where it's news or education that it gets passed and okayed. The parody stuff gets fucking lost all the time because people use this, but it doesn't hold up, and eventually it is ruled that it is not actually fair use.
Gotcha. Complicated issues for us just wanting to talk about toys.
It is.
Tomorrow's host is Andrea Renee, the busiest lady in business. Remember, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, please subscribe on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, back us on Patreon. There's a million different ways to be part of the show and help us out. Go to kindafunny.com/KFGD. Post anything you want there to get it on tomorrow's showcase. So yeah, until next time, be good to each other. It's been our pleasure to serve you.